Good morning and welcome, everybody. We are here for the June 25th, 2024 edition of the pre-market prep session. This being our daily session where we go over, before that opening bell rings, all the important news, notes, analysis, trade ideas necessary to keeping us consistently profitable in markets. Didn't hit that mark yesterday, right? Came into the week with a weekly shooting star. It looked like things could be really messy because we had all these different stocks like Apple and Amazon on the verge of breakout, and some had achieved breakout, and we're getting volume. And then we also had SPY with that bearish look. So it was like we had bearish overall market, and then a few names that looked bullish. And it was kind of trying to figure out, okay, which one is going to win here, right? The bearish overall market or these names that have broken out and looked bullish and are getting volume. So we have to like as a result because you can't determine which way you go, but you can determine how heavy you are. Kept it light, ended up getting a little smack to the face on Amazon and Apple. As they were poised to maintain breakout, couldn't maintain breakout. But again, controlling what you can control is all you can do under these circumstances, and then kind of, see how things play out market wise and go from there. So, not mad at the result, wouldn't change anything. But as we go into today, right, making sure that we're on the right page with markets and all of that is important. We got PC data coming out on Friday. So now it's like, okay, maybe if we don't start to see any movement with conviction in different sectors, then we wait until we get that data, right, to really put any size in. But there are a lot of good looking sectors, a lot of good potential opportunities that we're like right on the edge of. So we're waiting on it. Some of them we went over last week during the Kaizen event, which was amazing. To all of my people, who are part of both communities and who are, also joining AIM. Number one, right, I'm going to make these announcements in the group, but make sure that if you submit a video, you utilize that discount that you got, right, by submitting that video, and you subscribe for that 50% off. That is, the best deal that will ever be put forth by me. It was the same deal that I put forth when I started Stock Options Made Easy, and all the people that took advantage of that can let you know that that was an amazing investment, right? So it's been awesome seeing all the great testimonial videos and everybody, showing love and showing what they learned and how they're going to apply it. And it was an amazing event. I'll be in touch, about AIM and moving forward. But I'm giving people time, this week to kind of get their ducks in a row and everything. And then I can take our group and we can move forward. But you'll hear about, from me regarding AIM. For right now, you're just sitting tight and, looking at these markets to see where we can execute. But yeah, really excited to see what the rest of the week has for us in terms of markets because we got some fun stuff happening. Speaking of which, our top news, right? Make sure before we dive into what we got going on, I still got the Kaizen shirt on, right? Whether or not Kaizen is coming up or it's past, it's a lifestyle, right? It's not something that begins and ends. It's that art of you getting better each and every day. So it's eat, sleep, Kaizen, repeat, right? We are on that. That's our default mode. That's our default protocol. So make sure that you're continuing to do that, and you being here is part of that. Also, anybody looking to take advantage of that AIM offer, make sure you do so because that offer is up by the end of the week. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. You're, sliding in. You are making the effort and prioritize that because that is not something that lasts forever, right? I want my people who want to execute, they're ready to execute, and then they put forth the effort in order to do so because it's a very low bar for that effort, right? So I just need, let's get that committed group. We move forward. I'm loving all the people that we have thus far and looking to get everybody on the boat that needs to be. But we're looking to get 1% better daily. So you all know the drill. Drop those ones in the chat, whether you're watching via live stream, right now, or you're joining us from the future and watching a recording, either one, right? Set your intention for this session because the only way that you go somewhere and you learn and you get results and you do that over and over and over again, it's by having the intention to do so, right? So make sure that you have that intention to do so. And let's get after it. So let's see. Top news here, rotation in the making. NVIDIA is sparking broader market chatter after extending its recent losing streak to enter correction territory on Monday. The high-flying stock lost $500 billion in market cap over the past several sessions, retreating to third place behind Apple and Microsoft in the rankings of the most valuable companies on the planet. It's still up 140% year to date, making it the second best performer in the S&P 500 index, behind Supermicrocomputer (SMCI), which has nearly tripled in 2024. Now, my opinion on this is that NVIDIA is amazing in that it's absolutely super predictable in the way that it moves, right? The same it did the exact same thing last time. So I'm not shocked that it did it this time, right? Last time Nvidia went and rocketed to new all-time highs. Number one, we got a ton of volume right at the top, right? Of people still buying in on contracts. And number two, we had a retreat down 20% in the correction territory, and we didn't make a new high for another 2 months. So it's like Nvidia kind of moves the same way like clockwork. So don't get scared. Look and refer to the charts, right? It's all right to feel emotion, but understand that emotion is not you. You might feel scared, you might feel confused, but you are not scared. You are not confused. Those are transitory states of being, right? That's not you. Look back on the charts, see what happened previously, and then say, oh, okay, this is literally what was expected to happen, right? And then you move on from there. But everybody's like, oh my God, like is the market dead? Are we is it all over? Right? Is the run ending? This same thing happened just a few months ago, right? The same thing happened just a few months ago. So yeah, take it as a gift, take it as an opportunity. Go ahead, slide in dollar cost average, right? Everybody, it's funny, everybody says, oh, I'm not gonna get it up all the way up there. Look at how high that price is. And then it drops 20%, and people are like, huh, I'm not getting it at that price. Like I needed to drop it down even lower. But it's a 20% sell-off. Like, what more do you want? And then what happens with both those situations, they never end up buying in, right? So don't be that person who you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it when it's this, I'm gonna do it when it's that. You're just not going to do it, right? Do it. Put up or shut up. That's where we're at with it. But yeah, is this cause for alarm? You might say, no, not really. I mean, this is exactly what it did last time. We're saying just repeat that cycle, rinse and repeat. An uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows, not just higher highs and higher highs, right? We've got to have lows at some point, and that's what we're doing, putting in those lows. So sector rotation, stocks rose outside of big tech names on Monday with gains seen in 9 of the 11 stock sectors of the S&P 500. Given weightings and concentration, the benchmark index ended the session lower, as well as the NASDAQ composite, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average tacked on 260 points, led by energy and financials. Financials, something that we've been looking at, right? Keeping an eye on. Mentioned financials yesterday. The value versus growth equation comes ahead of May's personal consumption expenditure data, the Fed's favorite inflation gauge, which is set to be released on Friday. I'd also been keeping an eye on the energy sectors. I saw that moving. I just kind of wanted to keep it on the down low, right? It's one of those things where like everyone be quiet, no one say anything, and then maybe, just maybe, it'll act right. Right. So that's where I'm at with it. That's something that's on my radar. I've been paying attention to it, but it's like I've been paying attention to it silently, and I'll continue to pay attention to it silently. We'll roll with it from that because we've been waiting for energy to get it back together for a little bit now, and I'm gonna let it do its thing here. But yeah, looking solid, I might say. Now getting back into it. And that's what's important too, also, when you talk about trading markets, there are sectors other than tech. There are things, other things to trade, other things to take advantage of. So, just recognize that us proactively being in these sectors and having eyes on these sectors it is important, and it's representative of the fact that this is a community that's constantly on that cutting edge, right? It's not like you're hearing about financials from this newsletter first. Where did you hear about it from first? Me yesterday, talking about how financials was looking good, had great setups, right? We outlined a number of different opportunities in the financial sector. So it's like when you find yourself consistently ahead of the curve, that's a great place, and that's where you want to be. And that's exactly what we're going to be with AIM, right? For AI Made Easy. So for anybody who's, kind of weighing whether or not you want to keep yourself in that Kaizen type mode where you are consistently exposed to, new systems, new setups, walkthroughs, one-on-one type content, all that great stuff, and make sure you're in AIM because this is the community where just like stock options made easy is for markets, and we're keeping tabs on all the things that are growing, what's moving, the new newest tools, all that good stuff, newest opportunities. We're doing that exact same thing with AI. It's growing so fast where you have to be in constant contact and have touch points with people that are learning the best ways to leverage this tech, right? Because next week it could be a whole new ball game. And you being one of the first adopters of that could be the difference between, you heading up and becoming regional manager or you being that person that's passing out your job application, right? Trying to look for someone that will accept you and, help get you back on your feet. So this is a time where staying in the know and knowing how to best utilize things like the prompt structures that we talked about or the different setups, the automations that we talked about, where you learning and being able to put together those systems and implement those systems at your job in your company. Huge, huge, but it's changing ever faster, right? You saw Claude 3.5, the newest one that they dropped literally the day after I mentioned, oh, well, they could do an update to Claude and maybe it's better than ChatGPT 4.0. And literally that same night they did an update to Claude. And, in some respects, people are arguing that, especially when it comes to the coding capabilities, it's better than ChatGPT 4.0. So, yeah, it's a fun time, but I just want to make sure that, again, Kaizen is the goal each and every day for both stocks and AI, we're getting 1% better. Like it's a dual mandate. Before it was just like, all right, make sure you're multiplying your money in markets. Now it's both of these things, right? Each day I'm like, all right, Kaizen with AI, Kaizen with stocks, Kaizen with AI, Kaizen with stocks. In terms of like the sector rotation thing that we're talking about here in the newsletter, a rotation could be healthy, especially for those concerned about concentration risk or overstretched valuations. It could also help sustain the current rally, which is predicated on a soft landing and Fed easing cycle, and boost other sectors that haven't seen significant appreciation this year. While a pause may be warranted, don't immediately dismiss the staying power of tech, as well as the enthusiasm surrounding artificial intelligence and accompanying corporate profits. Seeking alpha commentary, this isn't the tech bubble all over again because firms are causing the tech boom, because the firms causing the tech boom are not just speculative wishful thinking. That is such a great statement that is worth repeating. This isn't the tech bubble all over again because the firms causing the tech boom are not just speculative wishful thinking. They are the most profitable entities that have ever existed. This is the newsletter talking and me talking, right? This is not the same as, oh, the dot-com bubble and oh this and oh that. Like, these are the most valuable entities, right, in the history of the world, in the known history. Because I'm sure way back in like ancient Egypt and stuff, like there was a pharaoh that was the equivalent of like a zillionaire. Um, but these are the most profitable entities that have ever existed, right? And they are integrating technology that is on par with the discovery of fire, the discovery of the internet, the discovery of the combustion engine, the printing press, right? We are in that area of change, and that is such a crazy thing that just makes me smile every time I think about it because it's such a wild dispensation in time to be like, wow, what were you? How was it when like cell phones first came out, or how was it when like the internet first dropped, or when you finally had like television, like all of that just completely changed the game, and we're living in one of those eras right now. But even more so, I'd say, than the telephone or anything like that. Um, so that was written by Seeking Alpha analyst Cullen Roche. All that said, the rate of change is worrisome. The valuations are worrisome, but the fundamentals very much support their high valuations. We need to bring time back into perspective here. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this during the challenge, right? Like the end goal of these companies is one thing that we outlined on day one. And until they reach that end goal, not just every single company, but the governments will be pouring, pouring billions of dollars. And this is the new space race, right? It's like it's that goal or bust, right? That specific goal or bust. And we know the rough timeline to reach that goal as well. So we need to make sure that, okay, in this meantime, we've got this time to capitalize. Let's capitalize. So for my people who are, letting fear dominate them, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, right? But you're going to miss out on an amazing, what has already been an amazing rally and what will continue to be an amazing rally. Media news, AI music seeking damages up to $150,000 per work infringed. So not just 150K altogether, but per, I guess, incidents. The biggest record labels in business are suing AI music generators Suno and Udio for alleged mass infringement of copyrighted sound recordings. There have already been many mounting concerns over using AI in content creation, though partnerships are increasingly being forged. The music industry is collaborating with responsible developers to build AI tools that put artists in charge, noted Mitch Glazer, CEO, Recording Industry Association of America. Quote, copying an artist's life work and exploiting it without consent or pay set back without consent or pay set back the promise of genuinely innovative AI for us all. Yeah, watch out there, right? If you're like taking people's music and making other music with it and using their beats and throwing AI over it, right? You got to be careful from that respect. generative AI like ChatGPT and all that. They're coming up with these things based off of their knowledge base. But if you're taking and creating quote unquote original works that aren't original and you're using somebody else's copyrighted stuff, that's when things get hairy, right? But I don't think anybody here is like taking Drake's music and then making new Drake and putting it out and making money from streams. So you're good. This isn't something that I would worry about for the average person. We're like, Adam, should I not use AI because of copyright? Aviation news, aerospace M&A. Boeing has reportedly offered to acquire Spirit Aerosystems, ticker SPR, in a deal that values the supplier at about $35 a share, representing a premium of about 6% to Spirit's last closing price. The plane maker had been closing in on an all-cash transaction over the weekend, but later switched to an offer that consisted mainly of stock. Under the proposed deal, Spirit will shed operations that make parts for Boeing rival Airbus. Investing group leader Leo Nelson said the deal would be a game changer as it would help Airbus in de-risking its supply chain and Boeing in enhancing control over its production process. You guys know, kind of the deal when a company gets acquired. So SPR is getting acquired. Their stock, likely went up on the news. Boeing stock likely went down on the news. Um, but yeah, I mean, Boeing's got to do something. A brand that is at an all-time low in terms of public sentiment. I mean, it's pretty crazy how people can see that they're on a Boeing 737 flight and literally want to change flights. Um, Healthcare news, production boost as demand for weight loss drugs continues to surge. Novo Nordisk will invest $4.1 billion to build a second fill and finish facility in North Carolina. The development comes as Novo, which makes popular weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy, and rival Eli Lilly, which make markets Zepbound, are experiencing supply constraints due to high demand for the treatments. Wegovy also just got the green light in China. We were on the ball with Novo. Novo, I called out a number of months ago. Like this company does not get nearly as much clout as it should. It's so overlooked, and they were doing, and that's the thing too, is that if you do great work, eventually that great work comes to light and you're rewarded for it, right? If you're doing great work, innovative work, right, and you're putting one foot in front of the other, won't happen overnight. Novo Nordisk was overlooked for so long, and they had this amazing, breakthrough, and now they're shooting through to the stars. But Novo Nordisk, like there was like a whole kind of like fringe, almost like cult of people who were just like Team Novo over Eli Lilly. And then Novo finally started getting the looks that it deserves. And it was something that we talked about here months ago, right? And if you got in then, Novo Nordisk has absolutely exploded since. So being in these areas where we are getting 1% better, being in these environments where we're getting 1% better each and every day is important. So you can get on top of that stuff like Novo Nordisk. But yeah, Novo Nordisk, Eli Lilly, Hims, right? Hims has been making a stir with all their like cheaper priced, more generic options. So Hims is crushing it, right? Hims is crushing it. I haven't taken a look at the chart or deep into the fundamentals or anything, but they're kind of giving these larger guys, Novo and Eli Lilly, a bit of a run for their money, and that they're coming out with all these different things, all these like generic versions for a lot cheaper, right? But I don't think that is anything that's going to slow down Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly had that beautiful weekly bull flag breakout that we're in the midst of firing now, and it's been paying us for the past few weeks very handsomely. So Eli Lilly long swings, doing great, doing their thing. It's one of those things that can have explosive moves, but overall, you just buy time, let it do its thing. Eli Lilly is a little bit more expensive, so not something that everybody can play. Um, but a beautiful stock, man, a beautiful stock with good, consistent movement. And if you can catch it right before it breaks out, it's one of those like NVIDIA where it can consolidate for a bit. But when you get that explosive breakout, it goes crazy. Um, Novo its plans to invest 6.8 billion to increase production overall. So the new plant will add 1.4 million additional square feet of manufacturing space. So Novo building up and boosting production even more. In terms of today's markets, mixed bag, probably have a mixed bag all week. In Asia, Japan up 1 full percent, Hong Kong up 0.3, China down 0.4, India up 0.9. The FTSE in London down 0.2, Paris down 0.7, Frankfurt down 1.1, the Dow down 0.1, S&P up 0.2, NASDAQ up 0.4, crude down 0.6, gold up 0.1, Bitcoin up 0.2%, bouncing at 60K, it looks like. Today's economic calendar, anything important. Consumer confidence at 10 a.m. That could be something that moves us here. Yeah, probably the most important. There's a member of the Fed, Cook, speaking at noon, but shouldn't really be significant. What else is happening? We'll wrap it up here, put a bow on it with our pre-market, rapid fire stock news rundown. Airbus cuts delivery target, delays production goal. Amazon working on ChatGPT rival. CEO personally involved. Peloton, ticker Peloton. That could be a great announcement because Amazon is something that, kind of to speak to the movement that we got yesterday. And number one, Amazon also decided to, unveil that they were going to start charging um, for Alexa, and they announced that, and the market didn't like it. And right at the time in which they announced it was also when Amazon started to take a load off between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. And they started that selling, and then it continued to sell over the course of the day and lost the breakout that it got last week on Friday. That happened with volume. So Amazon can be a weird mover, and it can be very annoying in the way that it moves. Right? I feel like they're trying to shake people out because there might be too many people on Amazon right now. It's been on the verge of breaking out for a while, right? And it's like right underneath the big breakout. And maybe when they announce this ChatGPT rival, it gets it. But as of right now, it's safest, to be involved with Amazon if you have time. But it's just been a pain in the butt with kind of the short-term fluctuations and their announcements and how those announcements are perceived. I'm not saying that them charging for Alexa caused the drop yesterday, right? It didn't, I can't necessarily say that that's the thing. It was just the two coincided in time. Um, and the price action didn't really make sense based off of what we'd gotten on that previous day, especially from a volume standpoint. But Amazon just want to keep an eye on, right? Weird mover, but set up to explode. But it's kind of like they're like kind of trying to shake people out and just get people done with Amazon and then just right? Rocking us up. But yeah, working on a chat GPT rival. So, I mean, so much fun news. I can't wait to go through that with the AIM group and break down, the pros, cons, throw some tutorials in there. This is just a fun time to be alive. Peloton, ticker Peton, PTON, loses traction as popular fitness instructors exit. They probably, see the world closing in around them and they're like, all right, time for me to leverage this into something else. And I would too. Like at this point, all those Peloton instructors that people love have developed their own followings and personal brands. Do something else with it, right? Um, Federal Reserve floats revised Basel III endgame rule for bank capital. Report Apple declined integrating Meta's AI chatbot. Okay. So we had, news yesterday they might do it, and they were like, nah. Uber cuts out idle time for NYC drivers through app lockouts. Oracle, TikTok ban in US would adversely impact earnings. So Oracle saying, hey, TikTok was banned, we would lose money. Um, and TikTok, was originally supposed to be bought out by Oracle way back when there was this first kind of TikTok buyout conversation. Maybe it happens again. Who knows? Paramount ticker Para boosts streaming prices and move toward profitability. Layoffs in tech sector reached nearly 100,000 year to date. We're halfway through the year, already 100,000 jobs have been laid off in the tech sector. Learn how to multiply your money in markets, learn AI, and stay up to pace with it, right? This is not something that is affecting only tech, right? Tech was just reported on today, but this is something where each and every day you are plugged into market related and economic news. You are seeing more layoffs, more layoffs, more layoffs, right? Use this tool to put yourself in a position to be indispensable, to be the person that is setting up the, especially if you were, elevated recently to a position in your job where you have more sway, right? Congratulations. I feel like a lot of people, especially within this community, are like, hey, I just got promoted, or I'm on this new project, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That is amazing. Make sure that you are now the best manager possible by putting in systems, integrating this technology where they could say, wow, we put this person in this position and they completely changed the game. Right, they completely changed the game. They brought so much value. They made it all easier, and then now they make your division the standard. They're like, look, we want to bring you in to teach the division heads, right? And you're going to be going around, you're going to teach them how you did what you did. That's what you want to look to do when you're, in that capacity, right? Don't look to get complacent and say, man, I got this nice, I got this nice position now. I hope I don't mess it up. No, if you're now regional this or director of that or this, that, and the third, you also have that ability to say, hey, I'm not an intern. I can bring things to the top brass and say, hey, think about doing something like this. This is how it will work, and it would save us this much time and consequently save us this much money. No one's gonna be like, no, don't do it. They're gonna be like, yes, make the company better, get all of us more paid, right? If you align your goals with the big boys, you'll make sure that you're compensated for it. If you don't align your goals with what people want and what the big boys are doing, then you won't, right? So make sure you're locked in. Stock options, stock market, AI, boom. Those are the two things because these layoffs they'll continue and they're not going to slow down because all these companies are becoming more efficient with or without us. So we want to make sure that we're the ones that are actively making it more efficient. Other than that, y'all, let's dive in and have a great day, right? Let's have an amazing day. Let's execute. Let's get 1% better. Let's get after it. Again, for all my Kaizen people, it was an amazing time last week. I will do the drawing later on today for the last AI 101. So that will be hour long, right? Normally 101 hour with me, $300, right? And it's something that is very, very valuable even at that price. So to get that for free and talking about the different systems and ways you can integrate it specifically for you, huge. So if you do a testimonial over there for day 3, you get entered into that drawing that'll happen later on today. You got the rest of this week, right, to take that next step forward with us in AIM. So everybody who was around for when stock options made easy, right? The Facebook group first started and you got in at that level, it's that same level of opportunity. So let's get after it, crush this week, and continue to close the gap between where we are and where we want to be. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. See you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.